Hi, everybody. Chris and I were just talking this morning about our upcoming programs, and we both just decided, why don't we just jump on here and share a little bit about the exciting programs that we have coming up. So, Chris, how are you doing today? I just wanted to check in with you.
I'm doing good. And what I'm really loving is I feel like this meeting has been set up just perfectly for us. I'm outside in nature. I just had a bird poop on me. So what could be better luck than bringing all of this to all of you?
Oh, thank you, birds. Thank you for the reframe of it is good luck, and I understand it actually is good luck. So we are going to go with that for sure.
For sure. And so as we get started here, why do leaders and even great leaders need speaking training, Kendall?
Well, it's a great question. And part of the reason why we really like to talk specifically about great leaders is we're going to assume that you watching this, that you're a great leader, that you're competent at your job, that you are touch moving, inspiring people in the right direction, that you're advancing yourself and your team, and you're also scaling your company. These are things that we're assuming at this moment. Now, you might say, well, I might need some help with that too. However, our premise is that getting speaker training actually is the magic link that makes all of that happen and makes all of that possible. And Chris, from your experience, how do you see that?
I agree because great leaders they usually have great ideas, and I think the challenge is that I've learned is it's get how do you get your team to come along with you? How do you get your group to be more cohesive in the movement and direction that they're going?
Exactly. So you might have a great vision, right? And maybe you've worked with a coach who's helped you develop that great vision. And yet now, let's say you want to expand into a market, and that's part of your vision. Now, that is a great strategy, especially since you've done all the due diligence. You know that there's a need for your service and product in the market. But now, how do you actually make sure that that idea doesn't land flat? And that is through your communication and how you communicate that strategy. Would you agree?
I would wholeheartedly. And it reminds me of what we spoke about just a little bit earlier. It comes down to the self, right?
Yeah.
We have to speak. And with our speaking, we need to engage with our audience, whether that's at first our audience of just one or the audience of our team, and then the audience that our team is going to communicate with. We then need to lead and we need to facilitate. So the self, the SELF, that is where I feel when we embrace that, we're able to bring our bigger selves to the table and to the room.
I love that. And by the way, Chris just made that up this morning. We've been talking about these incredibly important, sort of like our four-legged stool of what we offer. And that is really it, right? Is supporting you as the self, as the speaker, as the engager, as the leader, and as the facilitator. Yeah.
Catching on already. I like that.
Hey, thanks. That was easy to remember. I like those ones that are easy to remember. So give me a
Well,
big bobblehead yes if you like that idea of things that are easy to remember. That is going to be part of what we're going to be teaching you in our upcoming program. So stay with us just a little bit longer because we are going to be sharing when our next where our next programs are and how you can participate in those.
and
But
you can always click on the link below, which will take you to our events page, and you can find out all of the upcoming events there. So, back to it, Kendall. How about you could tell us a little bit about vision and how you get vision to land?
yeah, so okay, this is such a perfect example. You have a great idea, you want to expand into a market. And so all of a sudden now you go into the meeting and you haven't really prepared. You just kind of tell them and think that just by osmosis, by telling them that you're going to expand into this market, that people are going to catch on. But maybe they have their own perspective, their own understanding of the market. Maybe they have resistance to change and they don't want to expand. Whatever it might be, we don't want that brilliance of yours to land flat. We want it to be engaging. So in that scenario, it's going to be really important that you are aware of what ideas land, how communication lands, that the language that you're using is probably having a big effect on your team and on your ideas. What do you think about that, Chris? Do you think that our language does impact our ideas and our abilities for things to land?
Absolutely. And with that, like our what was it you said that our authority is communicated, it's not assumed. And I think that's where we are seeing a lot of um a lot of challenges on the world stage today is people believe that authority is assumed and not communicated. So can you tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, even if you have a C-level title, you would think, okay, that's going to convey people that I have the authority to do this, and and essentially people need to be moved and inspired, right? So when we're speaking, and this is what we're going to be focusing on in our next full day training, which look below for the at the link for our next full day training. We have programs in Denver, San Francisco, and LA coming up, so please check those. But we're going to be focusing on three ways to not only provide information, but also inspiration. So the focus really in our Speak with Impact program is going to be on information and inspiration. What are those three ways that we can inform and inspire?
And what we hope to do, and the goal is by going through this speaker training, is to also reduce the perspiration.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, Chris, tell us another one that what I like also is that high stakes moments. Yes, they build character, but they also reveal character. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
so that's a big component here that we're going to be talking about is that you and after coaching leaders for 25 years, one of the things that I've realized is you can be the best operational leader and then get in front of a room where the stakes are high. You might be presenting to investors, stakeholders, boards. You might be at a fireside chat in front of all of your employees and you have not prepared for that. And so what happens is all of a sudden those habits that are underneath the surface all of a sudden bubble up right when you don't expect it and you say not now, this is the absolute wrong time for my habits of saying or ah or being nervous or having sweaty palms or an upset stomach, all the
Or
things.
being able to redirect and really being able to get into the essence of who you are and what your story is and what your team's story is. Like the pressure reveals your habits, right? And
Love it.
the habits all of our habits come from belief systems that were developed at an early age, and that those belief systems may not serve us anymore. It's not that they are wrong, but they just don't serve us and they don't allow us to rise to our bigger selves. And cultivating new habits is is a process. And the first step is just learning what are my beliefs, what are the beliefs that I want to improve upon, and then how do I improve upon those? I mean, it takes 25 to 30 times to get a habit from inception to actually having it become rote and routine. And when it does, that's where the magic happens. But if you're only giving a speech or really getting into deep dives with your team once a month or even further apart than that, it could take 30 months, 2.5 years just to get those habits ingrained in yourself. And if you want your team to pick up on them as well, it really takes the reps to make these things happen.
Mm, I love that. And yeah, one of the takeaways that you will walk away knowing is how to, well, first of all, replacing all those habits and all the limiting belief systems that Chris is talking about, which let's face it, if we don't address those are going to run our life, whether we like it or not. So yeah, absolutely, we're going to give you tools, skills, hacks, mindsets to overcome, rewrite those limiting beliefs with positive ones, with forward moving, forward looking statements. But we
And this,
also, oh,
oh,
go,
so
go.
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to, I was going to say, well, what this does is this is all about then connection, self-connection, connection with your audience, and how connection drives results. So I was wondering, can you just touch on that a little
Mm.
bit?
Yes, well, people really don't follow slides and get motivated. I mean, there are definitely some good graphics out there, for sure. And we've seen a lot of them and absolutely they are good at providing information, but they do not provide conviction. And that's what we want from our speakers is we want to replace that idea of confidence in your idea to conviction of your idea. And so we actually help you never think about, I need to be confident in this meeting. All you need to replace that with is your commitment and your conviction to, again, we're using the example of we're growing into a new market. Let your conviction and your commitment to, yes, we're going to go into this new market. And here's how you're going to be supported as we grow and we scale in this market. Here is my commitment to you as my team, but also here's my conviction as to why this is going to work. And so then that way, your slides are just there almost like, an accoutrement to make sure people really understand that you've got a plan in place. But
Yes.
nothing can replace your conviction.
And nothing can replace you because let's face it, you could email your slides, you could email a presentation, but people really want the essence of you, you, our audience. Now, some of these things sound just a little bit complex to me. Can you
Okay.
tell me how complexity can become more clear or how complexity can give
Mm.
more clarity?
Well, absolutely. I mean, anytime, and let's face it, there are a lot of what we call wicked problems out there, and wicked problems are complex problems. Things where many pieces are involved, and we as the leaders need to convey clarity. So, what we try to do first and foremost is help you by painting a picture for us. Simple word. One of the aspects that you will learn in the program is different words that help move your audience to imagine a positive and more fulfilling future. So the word imagine alone, I want you to write that word right down wherever you are listening, write that word down and just let it soak, let it permeate into your consciousness of how can I start today with imagine. So imagine right now, we're moving into a new market. And yes, there is uncertainty, but here is why you are going to learn in our presentation today why going into this market is a beautiful next step for us. So imagine with me, right? And then you can create that imagery for people. So much easier for people to move with you if they can imagine a better future.
So imagine. Now, I'm going to just leave it there and linger because when I say the word like Kendall did, it shifts the mindset of the audience. It lets them then be like, okay, what's next? And this distillation of the complex into the simple, like Kendall was just talking about, is very important because most communication happens at between a fifth to eighth grade level. And some people, sometimes I hear them snicker about that. But if you tell me who your favorite speaker is, I guarantee you that simplicity is at the root of their storytelling because you want your audience, your team to remember what you're saying, and most importantly, to repeat it. And the only way that happens is with simple storytelling that is clear. And with that, then it's your culture. Like this is all about creating your culture and your voice is or can become the culture in your organization. Is that something you can share a little more about, Kendall?
Yes. I mean, think about culture for a second. And culture is just basically how we do things around here. That's really what culture is. So we want to look at the big wins for where we can really impact culture. Again, it all comes through three different pathways. One is through our belief system. What kind of beliefs are we instilling and sharing with our employees and with our culture at work? The second is absolutely. Well, and one more thing on the belief is, am I fostering an ownership culture? These are the cultures that we find are the most successful. They have the least turnover in terms of people wanting to leave. They have the most engaged employees. And that ownership culture includes both positivity and productivity. So we want to make sure that our beliefs and our language and our actions are supporting those areas, productivity and positivity.
And nothing
So,
speaks to that better than owning your mistakes.
oh,
Pointing the
say
finger,
more.
pointing the finger of blame, it doesn't work. What is the most positive thing you can do, we can do, is to own it and speak to it and say, "Hey, I made a mistake. Oopsie daisy. One of the hardest things for me to do, but now I actually relish in it." And when we do that, it lets our team know that we're all human, that we're all rowing in the same direction, we're all moving in the same direction, and nobody's going to get punished or fired because they made a mistake. And what does that mean? It then allows for the mistakes to become opportunities to find new ways of doing things, to find new ways of growth, to find new possibilities for the product that we may offer to the market.
Yes, I love
And that,
that.
and these types of things bring in bring in the opportunity to scale, whether that's scaling your your team or whether it's scaling your company. This is about leadership in that sense, and your speaking and
Mm.
what you envision for your team. Any more to add to that?
I mean, there's so much we could do a whole show, and we should on how to, I mean, not to say it this way, but really how to use apologies to build bonds on your team. Because having an apology, offering an apology or an oopsie daisy, I mean, that's something that we use in our company is when someone makes a mistake, we just say oopsie daisy, right? And it allows for it to be fun. It allows for mistakes, which happen all the time. As much as all the good stuff happens, we also make mistakes. Things don't go as planned sometimes. And so having a way for employees to be like, not what we don't want is we don't want employees to not share that information because they're afraid to get in trouble, right? We don't want to go, oops, I made a mistake and I hope nobody sees it. And so I'll just keep going like nothing happened.
Sweep
Okay,
it
so
under the rug.
right. So that's exactly the kind of behavior. Those are some of the habits that we want to disrupt. If we see that in our cultures, we go, oh, no, we need to make it okay for people to make mistakes and to make errors. And in fact, that's where innovations happen. Look at so many of the best innovations out there, have been from an oopsie daisy.
And you know what? Who would like to try a little exercise before we meet in person or in our next online session? And I'm sorry, try it with your spouse, your partner, your kids at the grocery store. Oops, I'm sorry, I cut in front of you. Step back, let the person go, right? Or I'm s- I'm sorry, little Susie or Johnny. I was wrong. The magic happens there. Watch it happen in the grocery store. Watch what happens when you apologize to your kid unprovoked for making a mistake and letting them know that you did. Matt, that it brings me chills, honestly, because that's where the really good stuff starts to happen. And when you're then able to do that in your professional setting, then it really allows It really allows for your personal and your professional lives to blossom together. Because let's be honest, keeping them separated is hard work. And it's part of that old belief system. So as we look towards our simplicity and we look towards our connection and our clarity and the results that we want to get, these are the opportunities to do it. So I challenge you to try something like that.
Mm. And I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it with people of all ages, and I love to watch you where you'll step in and say, I owe you an apology. I just realized that I overtalked you, or I interrupted, or I assumed something, or I brought an energy to the situation that was unneeded. And I've just seen you do that, and it's inspired me. So, and those relationships, I mean, people go, whoa, an adult or someone of you are apologizing. Wow, that's pretty special.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And what I have found is sometimes it's best, like if it's in the grocery store, you can address it right away. But if it's something that might be a little more complex, just even with a child, maybe wait a few minutes, maybe
Mhm.
wait an hour or two, because even if you go back later, they'll remember. People will remember. And
Yeah.
when you do that, they're just going to be like, whoa, and they're going to look at you in such a new light. They're going to look at you with beginner's eyes. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, I've got a new relationship blossoming with this person because they're now treating me as an equal.
Yeah, so we're getting into all sorts of topics that are all of our favorite things in terms of just really living your best life. And that's what Coleman coaching is all about. That's what Kendall and Chris are all about here in terms of our coaching is really helping you live your best life, whether that be at work or at home, right? So we like to call it the work-life blend around here because that there is really like, is it really balanced? I don't think so. But it's a blend. And but most importantly, what we want you to walk away with is an understanding of programs that we do have coming up. We're excited. We'd love to have you come. We put it at a price point where hopefully everybody can say yes. And in fact, we want a resounding hell yes, I want to come because I know if I improve myself, even if I'm a great leader and I already know I'm really good, I'm scaling. I've got people who want to follow me. I'm developing others. I'm a great coach. I'm developing, the results that I'm here to do. Speaker training is a very unique aspect of coaching that we can all benefit from because it could be right now where you just jump on the camera and you start talking about your product or service. It might be somebody says, you're coming to this conference and we've had somebody call out sick. Can you please fill in on this topic? It could be moderating a panel. It could be we're sponsoring this event and we need somebody to be the spokesperson. So if you have a desire to cast your fears aside of public speaking, like an old shoe that does not serve you anymore, then please join us for our Speak with Impact programs. All the information is below. We bring these programs to our community in terms of once a quarter. We bring these to anyone can come and sign up and register. These are public programs that anybody can come. And we also bring it in-house. So we have many clients who have loved this program so much. In fact, I just posted yesterday on LinkedIn. I asked somebody commented on it that had attended, I think we coached together maybe 15 years ago. And he said, Kendall, this was my favorite training of my career. That was 15 years ago. So, gang, you've got to sign up for this. It is a game changer, whether you're scaling your company, whether you want to have a signature talk that just touches minds and spirits out there, whatever your goal is for speaking with impact, we want to see you there. Denver, San Francisco, and LA are all coming up. We also have online masterclasses so stay tuned, sign up for our email so you get those. And any final words, Chris?
Yeah, well, actually, just to end on another bird note, as I am such a fan of nature, I now have hummingbirds zipping all around me. So this is just the coolest. But nothing is as cool as being able to work in person and with other people to bring these programs to where they're needed.
Yeah. And actually, to that, I'd like to just underscore one of the unique abilities about our in person. Okay, this is in person, speak with impact. True transformation. We have hundreds of testimonials of people who have literally transformed their public speaking. Those are on our website. One of the things that we will do for you that day, one of the tools that we use is videotaping. And I guess it's not called that anymore, but we will record you. We will record you and we will work with your content, whether it's a 3 minute intro to your story. Maybe it's an offer that you want to make to a client. Maybe it is a client story that you're developing, an introduction to your a speech or a presentation, a board meeting, an investor presentation, an employee message that's so important. Whatever that might be, an intro to your nonprofit.
We
Please
will
join
meet
us.
you,
Yeah.
we will meet you and your team where you are.
Yeah.
It's time to celebrate your bigger self. Speak, engage, lead, and be able to facilitate courageous conversations. Thank you for your time today, Kendall. Any last thoughts before we cut out of here?
I think the only thing left to say is it is your time to shine.
Your time to shine. Woo!
Peace.